all the material shit and the fancy shit and all that, bitch, I can do it for myself. I just want, yes, bitch, I can do it for myself. And I still want you to do it too, bitch. Stop crippling them men. Stop telling them men all you want is time. I need more than time. I need my hair done sometime. I need my nails done sometime. I need my car paid sometime. I need these bills paid sometime. Yes, I can do it for myself. But now you're here. So now
can I put your name on there?
You absolutely can put my name on that.
VALL.
Make sure my camera. Good trouble.
Crystal Valley. What we gonna talk about?
It's me, C. Val.
What else did you put on yours?
Discussing local issues with former NAACP president, Mr. Jack Hinton. Let's talk about it. So this is the first of many lives to come until the November primaries. To the surround sound? That was you?
I think that's the one you did. I'm just gonna say stirring up good trouble with Crystal Valley discussing local issues.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So is it playing on my Facebook?
Let me see.
Hey. I will drop the link. If anyone would like to join the chat,
you
conversation. I'm on my YouTube channel.
Oh, you're on your YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If anyone would like to come and add to the conversation, you are more than welcome. I will drop the link in the chat. If you have any questions, we have Miss T Vaughn over working the chat. She will inform us of your question. We will address your questions and concerns. So you guys know that I am unpolitically correct. I will try my very hardest to look like a basket. I will try my very hardest not to use vulgarity.
Mm-hmm.
I promise Jack I wouldn't.
You promise.
I promise Jack I wouldn't. But you all know that when it's something I'm passionate about, I tend to get a little excited, but I will try to contain myself. So Jack and I discussed.
We gotta talk to these.
Talk up there.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't have any kind of management of anything going on right now.
That's okay. I could do both.
You could do both. Are you managing? You looking at the comments on Urbancast as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I'm on.
You're on Urbancast?
You're on Urbancast.
So we are streaming live from YouTube at Madam Oracle. We are also streaming live from Facebook's Urbancast, where.
Well, Jack Hinton, I'm here with Crystal Valerie today, and typically, we're out on the scene somewhere talking, but today we are going to be talking about some of the local issues that are impacting the folk here in Alexandria and our surrounding areas. Is that correct, Crystal?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we greatly appreciate if you guys make sure you like and share, comment. If you have some questions, we got a couple folk over here that's manning those messages and all of that kind of good stuff. So we're gonna try to keep it civil. We're gonna try to keep it as real as we possibly can today.
I don't know no other way.
You don't know? Okay.
I don't know no other way.
All right. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and get started. What we're gonna start talking about first?
I did receive an answer to the question that I just asked.
What's that?
The answer was a home rule charter.
A home rule charter.
Correct. So I asked a local politician, I won't say which one. Mm-hmm. I asked the local politician who happens to be melanated, why, if we are majority melanated people, why is it that the melanated areas always end up with the short end of the stick, even though we support our local politicians? And what he told me was that we were a home rule charter city. Can you enlighten me a little more about what that is? Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, that's the charter. That's the city's charter. That's the governing document that we have to follow. It's our constitution, our rules, and all of that kind of good stuff. And it's about a 50-page document, and pretty much, but it's got tons of ordinances that have been added to the home rule charter.
Okay.
But it's what it's what forces the city to do the certain things that they do in a certain way that they do it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Hinton, who's responsible for composing that home rule charter?
Oh, that's the council's responsibility.
So our city council can amend, change,
get rid of.
free will.
Joe Fuller, who was one of the smartest councilmen,
Absolutely.
very intelligent brother, he used to always say, once you get to have 4 votes, it's 7 councilmen, right?
Right.
That's the majority.
Correct.
And so 4 votes, and you are supposed to, especially if the mayor is in agreement with what you're saying, you're supposed to be able to make changes and do things, or execute whatever it is that the city has to.
Okay, so
and you also have, if you have 5 votes, you have a veto proof.
Correct.
So because in any kind of government body, it's always a legislative body that's really the owner of everything.
Right.
They're where all of the power is.
Absolutely.
The mayor, he just executes what they tell him to do, and generally that's how that piece of the pie works.
Okay.
And so if you have those 5 votes, then you get the option. At that point, you can say, whatever it was that we wanted to do, we can go ahead and do it as long as it's within state law, federal law. If it's breaking the law, then the mayor does have the ability to veto it, and if it's something that's not in accordance with state law or federal law, he can take them to court.
Okay.
And that's how they resolve it.
Okay. So it's very important that we vote correctly when voting for our councilman.
Absolutely.
Because this is where our home charter, that's where that power lies.
And believe it or not, one of the authors of the Alexandria City Home Rule Charter was John Allen from Sonia Quarter.
What you say, a Sonia Quarter thoroughbred original. So Mr. John Allen does have a grandson that's out here now making waves, Mr. C. Ray Lewis. Now, Mr. C. Ray, I'm all things Sonia Quarter thoroughbred. But I can recall as a local entrepreneur, when I first came and brought my business from Baton Rouge to Alexandria, I can recall learning of GATA. GATA is an organization, my research said, that brings funding to any local or business that wants to put on some sort of community event or something that would benefit the community. And they would put resources and funds behind it in order to make that happen.
That's right.
Right? Am I right so far?
That's right.
Okay, so I did my research. I went downtown. Can't remember the address of the building. It's on a corner. And I went in and I spoke with a young lady who told me that her mom was over GATA and that her mom had worked herself tirelessly to the point where she didn't have time to teach someone else how to run and operate GATA, and that her mom had suddenly passed. So she could not refer me to anyone who I could speak to about this. That was 2020. Then this year, I'm listening to the radio and I hear the Mike Epps commercial, and I had heard it quite a few times, but it didn't stick until one time, and I heard sponsored by GATA. And I go, well, did they go to the grave and do a seance? How on God's green earth did they get GATA to sponsor Mike Epps to come to the Coliseum and do a comedy show? When I went, they told me a local melanated business owner.
Right.
And then let's put in woman, female, because they often throw that in.
Right.
Daughter of a veteran, they throw that in, right? Single mom, they throw that in, right? I have all of these checklists that says that my government will help me. I went and I didn't get any help. Mr. C. Ray Lewis, You weren't there. I didn't speak to you, so I won't hold you personally responsible. But I'm letting you know that when local business owners come looking for Gator, that's the information that we get.
What's really important though when we start talking about Gator, and I think he sits on the commission, the board that sets the rules for that public body, and Gator is funded. We ought to step back and say, well, where does Gator get its money? It doesn't just come out of the sky.
Well, where does Gator get its money, Mr. Henton?
It's a part of a sales tax. So when you stay in a hotel,
Okay.
in Central Louisiana, you are assessed an additional fee, additional tax, and those taxes are earmarked directly for Gator to increase, people increase tourism and increase of folks staying in our hotel rooms.
Well, that's beautiful because in the last 5 years, we've built up maybe 10 new hotels.
Right.
And some of them you have to have an out of town or out of state ID to even book a hotel room.
So those funds coming in from those hotels are designed to go in, and there are tons of organizations that are utilizing those funds. Like the Art Foundation, the Kids Playhouse. I don't know the exact name of it.
Did they move it? Because I saw the Kids Playhouse used to be on the end of Bowden toward Bringhurst, District 2. And I don't see that there anymore.
I don't know who all of the recent recipients of Gator funding, for their activities and everything. But I'm just saying, if you have a program, you should be able to petition that organization and say, you know what, this program that I'm about to bring is going to bring X number of people from out of town. They're going to stay in a hotel because that's what you want. You want tax. You want the tax dollars coming in because we're able to then take those tax dollars and do different things with them.
Of course.
So and then so the idea is, you should be able to go to Gator and say, hey, I'm going to bring this kind of a crowd into the community. I mean, and it could, if you give them a good enough plan, issue out the dollars for your program. I think they have some processes, and I think they have some cool processes.
Absolutely.
Whereas, they can pay directly for the stuff. They'll give you a cap of what you can use. You give all them the invoices, they cut checks directly, or you give them the invoices, they give you the money, you give it money back to the folks. So they have some processes that you have to go through.
They're necessary.
But but that's the whole idea and the spirit of the program. To get tax dollars into the community. Because we got half of the town that is it's just kind of, we got a ton of we're sitting over here on 3rd Street right now,
and it's hard. I'm gonna say this to bookmark that Gator, and then I'm gonna move on to those tax dollars. We're gonna start talking dollars.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna start talking about
to those of you who are responsible for Gator, I get it. Maybe you are just now in those positions. Maybe in 2020, when I looked, you weren't in those positions yet. That's understandable. There are many business owners who would love to have access to that information. Maybe if we could take a small portion of that and market Gator and how to get in contact with Gator and how that process would go. If we could take just a little of that marketing money and put that towards bringing awareness to business owners on how to, that would be great. I mean, you guys, they spend a lot of money marketing for Mike Epps, and economic development is top on our priorities.
Again, and perhaps, I think a whole, little section talking about Gator and the things that Gator can bring to the table. They'll probably be able to come back and correct us on some stuff.
Absolutely.
We're saying.
If you guys would like to come and speak with Jack and I, let us know. Reach out to any one of them, to either of us.
And let's talk about it so folks will know how to access those resources.
Absolutely.
And different things that I know.
Because it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Now you said Gator, the tax dollars, those dollars.
Yeah.
Those dollars. So there's a big number recently released, $300 million annually.
You heard the mayor say that on that.
I did. I will drop the link under the description tab for the YouTube.
We uploaded the forum that the the realtors of Central Louisiana had last night.
It was not open to the public.
Oh no, this one was open to the public.
This one was open.
This one was open to the
Okay.
public. Yeah, you know, it's. I'm not sure how they marketed
Advertising, because we
Advertising.
don't get to see a lot of it.
No, we don't. But it is on UrbanCast website. So if someone want to go out there and take a look at it right now and look at it, and it's told them it's 2 hours. But toward the end, the candidates talked about some of the things that they were going to bring to the table. But Mayor Hall did, in his closing remark, he said, the budget for the city of Alexandria was $300 million.
300 million, Jack.
300 million.
Jack, I've been told, I remember when I was younger, I was told that the city thrived off of sales tax, property taxes. That was a reason that was given to me as a young voter on why my area looked the way it looked. They said that we just weren't buying property like we used to. That our schools weren't producing numbers that like they used to, and that was the reasoning behind our neighborhood looking like it looked. Well, as a more matured voter, I've learned that the city thrives off of a big, huge majority of it comes off the sale and profits from utilities.
That's right.
Right?
That's correct.
This city, city feeds and thrives. The majority of our budget is off of the profits from utilities. If you live in a zone where you're paying, for me, I pay commercially rated utilities $800 a month easily. And so can you please explain to me, because we talked earlier about how that goes as far as the utilities and the breaks on the utilities. Can we go a little further into that?
We can, but first I guess we ought to talk about that 300.
That 300.
Yeah, because when you think about that $300,000, let's
million.
Yeah, I said that again, didn't I?
You said thousand.
I said thousand. $300 million per year.
Million. That's a huge difference. Right. 300,000 and 300 million.
Yeah. And right now we have an election getting ready to happen. And if we just look back over two of the guys that are actually running, that's 16 years. That's 16 years. And we want to think about how much money that's been over those 16 years. I think we did the calculations a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That's $4.8 billion. And when we when we think about that $4.8 billion, we walk out of our doors and what do we see?
Burn down homes, run down homes. I live in a historic district, although it's not officially known as a historic district. It is a historic district. So a lot of those old buildings and houses, they're just simply run down. They need to be torn down. So we're working with 4.2. Was it 4.2 or 42?
42
billion in the last 16 years.
No, that's 4.8 billion.
$4.8 billion has come through this city.
That's right.
In the last 16 years.
That's right.
Between,
let's say, make sure we say approximately.
Approximately.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Give or take a little.
Approximately. And the past administrations, mayoral and
The
councilman.
Right. That's right.
And my historic district that I live in hasn't seen a penny. In fact, not only have we not seen funds, we've also seen youth resources such as the Boys and Girls Club.
That's right.
The YMCA, all of this is on that side of town. They've been shut down. The baseball field, the baseball diamond, it looks horrible. The football field that's right there, there are so many resources and things that the youth could be doing if we could have just touched
a little bit of it.
But we touched 1%, am I correct?
Yeah, but approximately, according to, well, and you know what that is, if we start talking about the disparity study, we're going to talk about that in a few seconds. But when we when we look at our community, we basically see no improvements in our community. And when we look at that idea of the people of Southeast Alexandria. It's a predominantly African American part of town. That's a fact. We also know that the idea that we also make up about 57 approximately.
57%.
Let's just go ahead and round up.
Approximately.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and round
57%.
up a little. About 30%. About 60% of the population is us, and when we look at it, and given the fact that we are that size of it, in addition to the
We
idea,
carry the city on our backs.
right. We pay those utility bills month after month after month after month, and so we are contributing a significant portion, the majority of that.
Jack, no way. No way, Jack.
You can't mathematically.
You got to be lying.
I wish someone could mathematically show me where I'm wrong.
There is no way in God's green country
Uh-huh.
that this Republican state
Mhm.
and this Republican parish has touched $4.8 billion. Majority of it off the backs of poor brown people.
Yeah.
And they haven't done anything in those districts. You can't tell me that's the truth, Jack. I just don't believe.
Like I say, I invite any official from the Alexandria City Council, the mayor's office, any past or present, official to come in and help me understand otherwise.
I invite the current administration, but to be honest, Mr. Roy, my family campaigned for you and helped get you in office all of those years that you sat in office consistently. I wasn't a mature and informed voter at the time. I didn't have this information. So I honestly, especially since he's a candidate, I would love to sit down with you or someone from your administration.
I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Because I would like to know why.
Right. Help me understand, help us understand why those resources were not, equitable or equal and equitably. Because it's clearly, when we look at our community, we see that there is a significant amount of neglect. And the administrations didn't do that by themselves.
No, the former councilman.
Right.
Let's get into it, because we also have the councilman coming up.
Well, they approve every penny that's spent.
Yeah, I have a comment.
Mhm.
What's the comment?
Citizen has said, and we have nothing to show from all of that, but more policing, more poor children in poor city. If we actually had political diversity instead of all of that fat pocket politicians, we have now. All the fat pocket politicians we have now, we might get somewhere.
I totally agree, because in the event that I've been in this area for the majority of my 38 years,
Right.
I can recall as a child going to the Boys and Girls Club. I can recall that crime has always been here, but it hasn't been as rampant, especially amongst the youth. So I challenge anybody who says, well, you don't have it because of the crime rate. I challenge anybody to go and compare the data, because the crime rate wasn't as rampant when those resources were available.
And those resources for recreational activities are really inexpensive in comparison to the grand scheme of things.
Especially when you see all that money they gave Johnny Downs.
Yes, someone else had asked, was the $3 million profit or revenue?
300 million.
300 million profit or revenue.
Well, that was the operating. That was the total budget. So that money had to come from somewhere, because it took them $300 million that year to actually perform all of the duties that needed to be performed in the city. So that's generally what it takes.
We spent it.
Yeah, we spent about.
We spent 300 million. That's what we spent.
But
Okay.
it goes back to when y'all was talking about Gator.
Okay.
They someone had said that Gator has had a website for years. But
Absolutely.
Cliff Mollier has been the director for a long time, so they're not sure who the person was talking about being over Gator.
Okay, well, whomever that young lady was I spoke with at the office, she says that her mom started Gator and that her mom was deceased. The young lady, I don't remember your name. I do apologize. If you reach this broadcast, please message me. Feel free to message me. It was myself and another business owner actually who went in there in that office that day. So that was that.
And right now, maybe that was a bad experience, but what we do have at this point is opportunity to go forward.
Absolutely.
Right,
I'd
right.
rather move forward.
Right,
I'm a
right.
solutions type of girl.
That's right.
So like I said, someone from Gator, please reach out so that we can actually get the ball rolling on making sure that that information is more readily available, that people actually have an easier time accessing it moving forward. That's it. That's simply that.
Ms. Battle say revenue. So the definition of it is definitely revenue. And Ms. Battles, we really appreciate you following along with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. But it's the total revenue.
That's crazy.
That's the total. That's what it costs to move
Now
and do everything.
The home that I live in is purchased. We are property owners.
You are property.
We have been there for a very long time. We are very productive members of our society for a very long time. And what we saw was a dog park be built right across the street, right behind the closed down Boys and Girls Club. What we saw was a juvenile jail cell added to Detention Center 1 when there were no resources to open up the Boys and Girls Club. I would like to take a minute just to send a shout out and salute to the people who have been trying to privately fund it, because they have had groups of people who've come in with their own money that's not a part of the 300 million and have tried to fund the Boys and Girls Club. So I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to those people.
Right. But, it's phenomenal how we put priorities to the things that we have decided to do in this city, and how we value it, and that kind of thing. But I think conversations like this one, Crystal, it can begin. We're not perfect here, but we can at least begin to have that dialogue, so people begin to understand. When we're going out and we're paying for that utility bill every month, it's just not they taking the money or whatever. It's that the city of Alexandria require the profits from those dollars to actually to give us the city services that we get, i.e. fire, policing, the roads, the streets, and the whole gamut of new developments and things of that.
It can't be roads and streets. It can't go to roads and streets because over on the north side of town, they've had a very important bridge that has been closed for many years that they didn't even begin to touch until this year.
That's right. And if you go back and look at some of the older council meetings where we had the justification that we didn't, it wasn't a big value to actually bring that bridge back online. In addition to that, it wasn't at a high priority or anything like that. So those folk in North Alexandria suffered for years, having to go completely around, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. But the west side of Alexandria seems to be thriving, Jack.
That's right. Well, you just think those resources that we spend in that 300 that revenue, that 300 million in revenue that we spend year after year after year after year, it's going somewhere.
To the west side of Alexandria.
It's going somewhere.
Some politicians' pockets.
It's going. And so it's just that we don't see a lot of those resources coming back in and seeing some of the improvements over on our side of town.
So, Jack, I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
You here? We here?
I'm here with you, and we'll be here weekly, right?
Yeah, we're gonna try to do this weekly.
We're gonna try to do this weekly, leading up to the election. So, what I request from you guys, the viewers, from you guys, the voters, is to get active,
right?
Get informed. If there's anything that you're unsure of, if there are any concerns that you have in your community that you would like to see politicians address this season, this election season, please message Urban Cast, message Alley Oop, send us some messages.
Right.
We'll interview you. You can come and speak with us.
Right.
We need you guys to be more informed and be more active as it pertains to the people you're putting in office. Because for the past 16 years, we have showed up every election.
Right.
Every 2 years, we've showed up. The numbers say that we're showing up.
Right.
And we're putting in these people who come and tell us what we should be concerned
they tell us
about.
to vote for them, and they're going to take care of us. And
$4.8 billion later,
$4.8 billion later,
none of our communities look better. In fact, they have all gotten worse.
Districts 1, 2, and 3. And as a matter of fact, I'm glad you said gotten worse, because basically how that concept of getting worse has been measured. You got the United Way that's out there with their ALICE studies. And so, and pretty much what the ALICE study says that here in the city of Alexandria, about 52% of the households can't make ends meet monthly, over that amount. So that's when you really begin to look at that. That's every other house, can't make ends meet, not yearly, but monthly. The utility drain on budgets within Southeast Alexandria into those families is just pretty much killing them. And and the one thing, a lot of times people say, that there are lots of opportunities out there, but you have to have an economy that's based upon a model of I need businesses, and so that people can walk to work or walk to the grocery store or whatever, and we don't have that but what we do have to provide city services and different things of that nature is we have that concept of a utility system that's sitting out there that we use to run the city. And so businesses, and without those businesses, it allows for you to have a job to go to. There are taxes being collected that are going into our school system. So our school systems are not suffering. Our roads are not suffering. It's a twofold thing. So we really need to see an economy that's based upon business growth. If we ever want to begin to turn around this poverty situation we have, the poor crime in the community, and all of that stuff that we have, we've got to look at it. And there are towns throughout the South, and we're going to just talk about just the South, and even here in Louisiana. Shreveport, I won't go there yet because we're going to talk about disparity separate. But there are communities throughout the South that are improving, and they got a long way to go, but they are beginning to slowly put the brakes on, and they're moving forward. But here in Alexandria, we seem to just always constantly go back to crawfish.
That's insane to me, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing, Mr. Steven?
We are in what's the name of the restaurant?
The Three Fat Brothers. Mr. Steven Chalk over here. He came sit down. We just came and invaded his privacy, his space.
I'm happy to have
you. We're okay, huh?
So surely, Jack, if you know that, then our leadership knows that we need to bring more businesses. You're very informed, well, more so than I am. Are there any incentives to bring businesses to Alexandria? What is our leadership doing to bring businesses to Alexandria?
We're sitting in a business owner space right now. Maybe he can answer that question. You got an answer to that question?
Let's
go. You got an answer to that question?
Greetings, Central Louisiana. Thank y'all so much for stopping by Uncle Willie's Three Fat Brothers. I really appreciate that. To answer your question, I have a quote on my board, and it says, Uncle Willie's Three Fat Brothers is the only sit-down restaurant that serves an economic deprived community. So, with that being said, we're the only sit-down restaurant that caters to poor people in Alexandria, Pineville, Tioga. I think the closest place you can find something is Natchitoches or Shreveport or Lafayette area, maybe in Opelousas. But there are no economic incentives to bring businesses here to Alexandria. It's kind of like we're turned off from the rest of the city. One other thing about Uncle Willie's Three Fat Brothers is our staff. 90% of our staff is actually from this district.
Huh?
So we're able to hire people within our district,
What you say?
and they're actually able to walk or catch the bus.
That's not possible.
It is possible, and that was one of my strategies when I decided to open up a restaurant in this community. And I wanted to make sure that we also offer our employees a livable wage or a decent wage, because minimum wage is $7.25. And
Correct.
I know the council, and you're talking about council have that opportunity to vote on, increasing minimum wage possibly in Alexandria, and they denied that. But
And you're doing that even with the cost of goods skyrocketing right now at 11% inflation right now, if I'm not mistaken.
you're absolutely right. I'm not saying that it's easy, but we have to give something back to our community. I remember when I ran for city councilman for District Number 3, and I did a video on the corner of 3rd Street and Bogan, and I said that this is a perfect corridor for businesses to set up. And I didn't know a year later that I would actually be opening up a restaurant within that same block
Right.
radius. But we are turned off from the rest of the community. When you look across the street from us at the dilapidated buildings and stuff like that, me and Jack talk all the time about just the different disparities that we face on this side of town. Our people actually, we say if we actually got together, I think we can form a class action lawsuit against the city of Alexandria for
13%.
for PTSD and other things the other trauma that we.
I've been diagnosed.
Yeah.
Seriously though, I know it sounds like we're kidding you guys, but we're not. For my YouTube family, I show you guys as much as possible what we deal with here in this city. So, Uncle Willie, I'll ask you this. I can recall that one of the former councilmen for this district, because this isn't District 2, this is 3.
This is 3.
I can recall that one of the past brown melanated district city councilmen, they stood on opening up the Family Dollar that's across the street.
Mhm.
And they said that was economic development. Now, to be fair, the place got broken into a lot, right?
Mhm.
But I think that's because they didn't use your format. They didn't cater to employing the people of this community to make sure that these people weren't hungry while another company got rich. So have you had an issue with them breaking into your building and
We're
busting open the center blocks?
we're just as opposite. We're opposite. When we first took over this location, we had bars on our windows and our doors and stuff. And we removed those things because we wanted to be inviting for our community. And we wanted people to come in our restaurant instead of staying out. So we have not had a uptick in crime. We have not had any false alarms. We have not had any break-ins. We have not had any things stolen from us.
What do you
we
say?
are truly welcoming to this community, and we're part of this community. So it makes a difference when you invest in the citizen that you cater to.
So they should take a page out of your book. That when you bring in a for-profit business into a poverty-stricken community, you should probably employ some of the residents of that community so that they are actually profiting as well.
We try to make sure that we have a diverse group of people. And one thing about it, we like to live in reality. And we know that the community that we serve, even if you do any kind of study as far as the reading level and skills and stuff are concerned, we make sure we make everything color and book friendly so we can attract and we feel as though if we're able to meet them where they're at, we're able to have that retention as far as employment is concerned.
That's that P word though, huh? That's policy, huh?
It's policy. And we set the tone, and the city sets the tone.
Well, what do you know
Well,
that if you put a policy in place
Right.
that is realistic for the people,
Right.
then they'll show up and show out.
Right. Right. And certainly, as we were talking just a few minutes ago, $300 million per year. 4.8 billion over the last 16 years. And what do we have to actually show for it? Not very much.
No.
Not very much. And we would have those resources. That was a very good question when you were asking about, what kind of incentives do we have to bring businesses over into our community. That's one of the biggest questions that you have. In most cities, you would have something where, where the people are looking to bring and for the community to come back and play and all that kind of good stuff. You would have the city with certain incentives, fast tracks to get your doors open to the business.
Especially because we're a metropolitan area. I don't know if I added that in, but that makes a huge difference.
Right.
Being a metropolitan area.
Right. And so, we just have to re-envision where we're going to put our monies. Do we put our monies on a $750,000 project to beautify
the bridge on
Jackson Street with some real pretty
lights?
The
homeless people need beautification when they ask you for your money when you stop at the light.
Right. And there again, do we have adequate space for the homeless to go to?
No, we don't. They were downtown, but then CLTCC, the community college, moved downtown and they put up all those cameras. So the homeless people, they pushed them away. They actually put a substation for the police at the bus depot right next door downtown. So they police that area pretty good between the cameras and the police presence to make sure that the homeless people don't go there. So that means they pushed them out into our communities even further, right?
Right. That's right.
It's kind of like when we say that we're turned off. In our next block is Peabody Montessori, and Peabody Montessori. It's a lot of traffic that comes in this side of town in this community, but we're in the next block, and it's night and day as far as the resources and stuff that we get. As far as basic services, as far as keeping the grass up and keeping the roads up and stuff like that. We have a lot of, you see a lot of poverty, you see a lot of homeless, you see a lot of those things in the area, and it's just different. But one of the things that I try to make sure people realize is this location, believe it or not, we're sitting on riverfront property.
Absolutely.
And riverfront property is one of the most valuable properties. And people might try to downplay the fact that it's down 3rd Street, but this is some of the most expensive property anywhere you go.
Once you
invest in that community and you turn it back on.
Say that because I was just telling them when we started that I live and I am from a historic district. Even though it hasn't been classified as historic, that property I've told my YouTube viewers, it runs right on the back of I-49. It has a very major historic road, Overton Street, that brings people into and out of Pineville on Overton and Mason. However, it hasn't been filed as a historic district. I'm not sure as to why not, but that's some very rich property right there. And yet we don't see any monies being invested. In fact, we've seen the resources actually be pulled away from. And so all we see is the advertising and the uptake in crime. So it's like it's been methodically done. So you have these very high property value pieces of real estate that we're seeing resources being pulled away from. And I mean, 1 + 1 is 2, right? So that if you starve the people out, then they're going to go into survival mode. And then, so it's like, do you want us to do that so that you can buy our property low and then build beautiful on top of it and hike it on up? That's a problem. That's a problem. But people only do what you allow them to do.
Right.
So we need to get active. As you all are informed about what's going on, if you've ever been to any major city, you'll see in any other metro area across the United States, you always see some people gathered up and they've got signs and they're making demands.
Right.
Here in Alexandria, historically, we talk about it amongst each other and we sit on Facebook and make 50 million posts. but we don't get active.
Right.
We don't make noise.
If you notice, it's September the 14th, and election is right around the corner, and nobody's talking about the coming election.
Isn't that wild?
That's bizarre.
I just don't understand it for the life of me, but it's part of the, let me say, oppression that's been taking place of our people. It's like if we don't inform them, it'll go away. And before you know it, election will be here, and nobody really came forward with a clear plan of action on how we can change policies and how we can elaborate on the sourcing study that's been taking place, and talking about the disparities that's been, it's nobody really want to talk about those things.
Well, you hit the word right on. Let's switch over a little bit to disparity. Let's talk about that thing called a disparity study.
Okay.
You want to start it off? You want to ask your questions, or you want to talk about what it is?
Well, the disparity that concerned me was that the number was 1%, right? 1%. But what I saw from leadership was that we only saw 1% of such a huge budget because we didn't qualify. But then that goes back to the policy.
Right.
And if the policy is amended and made by council locally,
right,
and leadership that are local,
right,
then how are we not qualifying?
That home rule charter, along with the ordinances that go along with it, make up the law of the city of Alexandria. And then the administration put in, operational policy on how we're going to abide by the law that our council have put in place. And so, when we look at the disparity study, and for those of you guys just joining us, we're talking about the disparity study that was just released about 2 council sessions ago, right? And in it, it's a legal document that talks about government contracts, local government contracts by the city of Alexandria, issuing out contracts to do work for the city, be it providing services and or goods to the city as a whole.
Right.
Alexandria, the demographics of Alexandria is that we are about approximately 60% Black in the city of Alexandria. And in that number of businesses that qualified for, contracts to do work for the city of Alexandria, it was about 1%. It was about 6% with minorities as a whole, but Blacks made up about 1% of that 6% whole. And before, for those of you guys who just coming on, we're talking about, looking at the impact of that. And we're talking about a yearly budget of
$300 million
per year. And if we just look over the last 16 years,
we've only had 2 administrations in the past 16 years. Two
administrations, and even when you start looking at it, that $4.8 billion dollars, and the majority in this city have had the pleasure of working with maybe just a little small,
the waste from the ant that ate the crumb was dropped.
That's right. So now we're talking about, and that's just the disparity as it relate to the government issuing contracts or issuing requests to do some type of work for the city. So, but we would have to believe that, there are other disparities within the system as a whole, when it comes to development,
right.
When it comes to, you just go across the board. You look at the disparities probably within our policing forces, our fire forces, and what have you. So we probably need to take a deep dive across the board and look at that. But so now that everybody that's just joined us understand what we're talking about, that disparity, just keep in mind, we are almost 60% of the people. do less than 1% of the business that can be done with the city of Alexandria.
So I don't want people, because we keep mentioning ethnic, ethnic, ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to know that it's not a black white thing.
No, it's not.
No.
It's really a have and have not.
There you go.
And I need you guys to stop voting for people just because you share the same skin hue.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person running for office should be vetted. You should talk to them and see what it is they stand for. You should learn politics and understand how that politician works, who's funding that politician. Because whomever is funding that politician, those campaign funds, once we elect them, that's who they work for. If you didn't fund them and instead you just ate the free sandwich or went to the party,
Ate the free sandwich?
I'm just saying,
Okay.
if you just, benefited from their campaign funds, then you are normally who gets upset when they get in office and do what the person who funded them to do. So over the course of the next 60 or so days, I will be making sure that I produce content that lets you guys understand politics, because that's one thing that I don't think the city as a whole understands. And then they use these tactics to divide us and
Right.
make us think that it's a black-white issue,
Right.
when in fact it couldn't be done to these districts
it is.
without a black face.
When rural Rapides and urban Alexandria realize we're in the same boat together,
Same boat.
we're in the same boat paddling, it's going to be a great day in all of Rapides Parish when we realize that what we've been getting is the short end of the sticks, the haves and the have-nots.
Well, we taking it to the streets, Jack. I
We
hope
taking
you're
it to
ready.
well, we on the street right now. We on our new street called.
So what I like to see is Jack and I, we've decided that we would come every week for about an hour or so starting off to inform the public. I also would like to actually take to the street, Uncle Willie. I'd like to go into those high traffic areas and just ask people questions and see where the knowledge is at amongst the city, because not everyone is going to tune in. And we need this to be massively understood and recognized.
Because and the reason why it need to be massive is because when we really begin to understand that these are our dollars.
Yep.
These are not their dollars. They're gonna do what they want to do. That concept, we hear that all the time. This is our money. And I really wanted to say something else right there. This is our money. I wanted to say this is our, but we agreed not to say anything.
I promised Jack I wouldn't curse. So I'll say
we don't want
this is our lint licking, cotton picking money.
It's
Lint licking,
right.
cotton picking.
Right.
It's
It's ours.
And we got the 4 utility bills this month to prove it.
Right.
Let's talk about it. That if you are 70 cents short, they will cut you off.
Oh, well, you think that I heard from some residents up in the Colfax area on yesterday, and give a good shout out to those folk up in shop. I mean, they literally had $10 water bills, and the city and the town of Colfax went turn their water off.
Wow.
And then on top of that, they charge them a $25 connect fee.
Isn't that something?
It's incredible.
That's crazy.
If you can't pay the $10, I know you
I
ain't
can't
finna
pay
get the news.
35. What in the world?
With the bills, I had saw a bill. A person had posted 4 bills. One on the 3rd of August, one on the 9th, one towards the end, and at the beginning of this month. Their cheapest bill on the 3rd is like 2 something. Then it jumped to 5. Then it jumped to like
Those
7.
fuel costs.
And
Those fuel
that's
costs.
like,
And I'm telling you,
crazy.
let's not. I know Jack said that the focus shouldn't be on whether or not you are commercially zoned or not. But I beg to differ, because on that bill, I've got people who live literally right across the street on the other side of the city park, and we're comparing, and my fuel costs is total up to $400, and theirs total up to $100.
It's different.
It's different.
But there are breaks being given, though, right?
There are breaks. There are the different tiers that are set in. And that's and for a real good. That's another segment. We could just talk about
Okay, because
the
we're
last
going to wrap up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna stay with y'all no more than an hour. But yeah, that's a whole different that's a different discussion to talk about that utility structure. You know, those fees and all of that kind of good
Yes.
stuff that's associated with. But it's very interesting as well.
It is.
It is.
So do you mind, Jack, if we've got 5 minutes left, roughly? If y'all want to ask questions
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
comments, we'll address comments and questions for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you all have any segment suggestions or anything of that nature, we can use the last 5 minutes to address any questions.
Yeah, and while you guys are typing them, somebody is watching the comments over here. Okay, all right. But one of the things that if you guys want to, make sure y'all follow Urban Cast.
Absolutely, I'll drop the link in my YouTube channel.
And YouTube, and then on YouTube, who do I need?
Madam Oracle. MADAAM. Second word Oracle. OARACL.
That's correct. So follow the two. Now you get a little candid over on Madam Oracle.
I am unpolitically correct
and she's on
and
YouTube.
Unapologetic.
Yeah.
But when I am working with Jack on the Urban Cast, I've pinky promised him that I'll make sure the content is usable. I don't want him to catch any flack about my mouth. I take all responsibility. So the weak segments, I won't curse.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be good. But if you so happen to tune in to anything else
on Madam Oracle, just go ahead and get over it.
It's unpolitically correct.
Okay, all right.
The world wanted Donald Trump back a second time.
Yeah, if I say what Donald Trump say, I'm pretty sure I have some folks that'll be out there putting a complaint against me. So I'm not gonna.
I don't care about their complaints. I don't care about y'all's complaints.
But it's important. It's important for us to get the information out.
Absolutely.
And what we've been finding is that it's hard because you always, no matter what it is, you have somebody challenging your content and all that kind of good stuff. So you spend a lot of time, probably about 30, 40 minutes a day just trying to deal with.
You do.
I do, but you see,
I don't.
But I got to keep it up. This is our channel for talking. She just move on over to YouTube.
I get black.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay, what's the question?
Yeah, the question, a citizen said candidates don't have political signs out and they're not showing up for forums and etc. How as a community they're going to know what their plan is if they get voted in?
I personally, I'll before next week comes, I'll reach out to as many candidates as I can with a request for them to give us an interview. I will let you know what they say. I will let you know verbatim what they say.
And we both agree to let everybody know.
And then you move accordingly.
Yeah.
If that candidate doesn't have time for you now, what do you think is going to happen once they're elected?
Right. And when you think about it, we as a part of the NAACP, when we were canvassing back in 2018 and 2020, we knocked on doors here in Alexandria. Mm-hmm. The number one concern from people was pocketbook issues. And those pocketbook issues were anything from I don't have enough money to pay the utilities, just money. Money was the I don't have access to a job, money. And so we quickly understood that if we're not trying to figure out how we can, get some money, that's the root of the big problem, And so we have those politicians that's right now that want us to believe that the core problem is crime.
That's low hanging fruit.
That it is. It's very and everybody want to be safe. One crime is across the board.
Is one crime too many.
Is one crime too many. But then you got to try to understand why they out there committing those blasted crimes. And what is it?
We broke.
Okay.
We poor.
And we ain't giving them no excuses. We're not giving.
We're not excusing it.
No.
We're saying unless you go to if you have a bad tooth in your mouth, anybody who's ever had a toothache, you can oral gel and numb all you want.
But the problem is that.
But until you take that tooth out by the root, it's gonna bother you your whole life. In fact, it could get worse, even leading up to infection that can spread throughout your body and kill.
Thank you.
So death comes from not dealing with the root.
And some of us are scared to go to a dentist.
Any way you put it, okay?
Yeah.
So the two things that we need to be focused on and asking these politicians is economic development,
Right,
and policy. Because we've learned throughout this segment that even though we are a local home charter,
the home rule charter.
home rule charter,
Right. And the cool thing about the home rule charter, the charter gives the people of the city of Alexandria powers that Pineville don't have. The city of Alexandria don't follow the Public Service Commission. We get to set our own rates on utilities. We don't have to get permission,
well,
from.
isn't that something?
No, that's right. So our rate makers are the city council.
The city council. What do you know?
That's what the home rule charter. So it's a good thing. Mr. Allen had a lot of wisdom back in the day.
Yes, he did. So I challenge my fellow citizens in Alexandria to join me this election season in starting some good trouble. Let's stir the pot, the cootie pot. Let's go to the Dollar Tree and get us some poster boards, and let's get active.
Get active on social media. If that's going to be
social media will not cut it.
Well,
we've watched
okay.
people complain on social media
and they do nothing
for years. Right. What we have never seen in this city is people get out and make noise. We have never seen it.
No, we're not. No, we haven't.
We haven't.
You're right.
So insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. They don't care about your social media posts. But if you're disturbing business as usual, and you're listen, when they wanted the money for Johnny Downs,
what did they do? They got out there in front of
They got out there in front of City Hall.
That's right.
And they got their money.
That's right.
You cannot be upset with people who got their money by doing something if you won't do something.
Yeah. If we're concerned about where that for the next 4 years at $300 million per year, that's what 12. That's $1.2 billion by itself in 4 years. If we're concerned where that money go, I would, let's just quickly say it, and then we're gonna go ahead and shut down.
Okay.
But these are the questions we need to find out. How Jim Villard, for Councilman at Large, B.J. Bennett, Jules Green, how they plan to vote on spending our money.
Well, that's only 3 people. Surely we can get all 3 of them in before now.
Yeah,
before
absolutely. And then when we go over here to District 2, you're talking about Clarence Reed, Roosevelt Johnson, Gary Johnson, and Gerber Porter. Let's ask them what they planning on doing with those dollars. What are they trying to earmark to our community? And then when we look at that, let's go right on over there to District 4, and that's Lizzie Felter and the Spencer guy that's running over there. What do they plan on voting for? Because even though he's in District 4 and it's right next door to 2 over there, we need to know how he plans on voting for it as well. And then we need to ask the question of the mayoral candidates. Look, are you going to just sit here and work on just crime? Because if you just plan on working on crime, and we don't want you. We don't want you. Okay.
We don't want you.
One of the candidates had commented.
Okay, which candidate commented?
Mr. Harry Hayes.
Hi, Mr. Hayes. How are you? He's running for District 2, correct?
No, mayor.
He's the mayoral candidate.
Yeah.
If you would like to sit down, please contact one of us. We would love to have you on one of our segments. We'll even do a special segment if you like.
Yeah, if they need to sit in on a Saturday or whatever, to make it happen,
we'll do it at your convenience.
Yeah. The people need to be informed.
Yeah. And be looking for Jack and I to be in front of one of your Walmarts or Targets or something. We're coming.
You coming?
We're coming.
You going? Okay.
We are coming. I'm putting fire to y'all feet, not just the politicians, but you guys that are voting as well, because we keep voting in these people, and I want to know why y'all keep voting them in. But thank everybody for tuning in.
Yep. Again, you guys can follow me over here on UrbanCast, and then we also we started putting our articles on a page called Involved in It's Also. You can always follow us there as well.
On YouTube, right?
On YouTube, yeah, we're crossing over. We've actually moved into the realm of Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah, come on, let's grow.
Yeah.
So you're on Alexandria.
Well, we got to do what we have to do,
Yeah, but thank you guys for tuning in.
And make sure you tell everybody how they can get to you. Okay?
If you would like to tune in to me,
Mhm.
I am Madam Oracle on YouTube. I am Allie Oops on Facebook. And you guys who know me personally, you know how to get in touch with me. Feel free. I'm open. It doesn't matter what time, 24/7. Contact me. I'm here. If you get to my YouTube channel, hit subscribe, the notification bell. Please make sure to select all. That way you receive a notification anytime I upload content or begin a live stream. Thank y'all for coming out.
Yep, we definitely want to thank y'all for coming out. Y'all have a great day.
Good day.
Because
I wish y'all stop telling these niggas all the material shit and the fancy shit and all that, bitch. I can do it for myself. I just want, yes, bitch, I can do it for myself. And I still want you to do it too, bitch. Stop crippling them men. Stop telling them men all you want is time. I need more than time. I need my hair done sometime. I need my nails done sometime. I need my car paid sometime. I need these bills paid sometime. Yes, I can do it for myself. But now you're here. So